to be right here. Put the connector in first. Right? Gonna need some stuff in the back of here. The other. I'm rolling. So I'm working on a 2010, it goes from a 2008 to 2012 Chevy Malibu, and what I'm working on, we're going to be doing the wheel bearing, the wheel hub bearing, the whole assembly. If you can get the wheel off, then you know we can proceed. If you can't get the wheel off, you don't need to be doing a job like this. So this job going to require you some tools, not a lot, but I'll walk through you what you need step by step, and make sure you guys hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We got the Cash App, we got the Venmo, we got all of that, and make sure you guys follow me on Instagram. So let's go. I'm going to be calling tool sizes out. I think that's too much of a bright light. I guess I don't need my headlights, but I'm going to be calling out tool sizes. So I got a long breaker bar. This is a 3/8. Yeah, I spent a lot of money on that too. Want to use an adapter because I got tools unorganized and I don't feel like it, so I kind of grab what I can. But one of the things we're going to start with is a 10 millimeter. Excuse me guys for the noise, the neighbor's cutting grass and I got to do what I can. But if I got to switch to regular voiceover, I will. There's a 10 millimeter nut right here. This goes for the brake hose, so make sure we spin it in the right direction. This gun is like not that decent, but the best I could do for now until I get a charger for the new one that I never used. Alright, get that off to the side, and then you can just wiggle that out of the slot because it's just a stud, so now the brake hose is free. The next thing we want to do is I'm going to crank this by hand. If you want to use power tools, you can, but I'm going to use a 15 along with my breaker bar. That's why it's best to have a breaker bar, so that way you get leverage when you're doing this, so you're not like killing yourself too much. Or you could use like the pipe of the pole of the jack. So we're going forward. One, and there should be one more at the bottom. And pay attention to the other camera view if you're confused about what it is I'm doing exactly. So like I said, my tool setup is weird. I'm not in the main one where my other tool is at. I'm working out of like mobile tools mostly. Let's go underneath. Off too. So a caliper bolts, put it off to the side, and you can just put a lug nut back on the stud so that way the roller don't fall out on you. Got that on, and you might need like a pry bar to wedge this brake caliper out, but I was able to finesse it. So just stick that up in top of where the coil of the strut is, so that way it can just stay still. Take the rotor off. I can get my lug nut off. We'll put the rotor off to the side. And make sure you get a jack under here. I'm not using a jack, I'm using a tire. My jack is pretty sturdy. It's up to you. I'm gonna tell people what to do, but it's your business. You figure it out. Next, I'm gonna get a 36 millimeter and take off the axle nut. You guys use PB Blaster, but sometimes you can chase the thread that way and it can appear to be clean. So I'm gonna put this back on here because I'm gonna give it a few whacks with the hammer just to get that axle to go drive back inside of the spline of the hub bearing. PB Blaster is your friend, but you're gonna need this to get driven in this way for a reason, because you can get to. It's a triangular pattern for your bolts, as you can see with your new hub bearing. You got 3 bolts, 15 millimeter, actually 13. We're going to get in there with, you can use this size. This is a 13 millimeter. I got this Duralast brand. It's pretty sturdy. It's warranty. If it breaks, take it back to the store. With this wobble socket Pittsburgh setup, it just gives me more flexibility or whatever. You can get in there with like a straight extension. It don't matter. But once I get in there, literally like this, I get in the back and crank it with my ratchet. I'll use my electric ratchet to crank it free. You want to use hand tools, but these are not never really known to be that tight, because while they usually go through a lot of replacements, if it never really been off, obviously the first time going to take a while, but these usually come off cool. I don't have too many problems. There's also a connector that I'm hoping you guys can see. If you guys can't see it, then oh well. For the wheel speed sensor that's built into the hub bearing, it's like 2 pressing tabs. Once you close them in, slip it through a hole, and then lift up the latch, disconnect the connector, and then you got the connector free. I'm gonna get in there with the electric ratchet gun. I hope it don't, battery don't act stupid, so let's go. Oh, come on. Here we go. So we got one out. If I wanna take it out, you can leave it in there. It's gonna come out regardless. Get the other one. Come on, what you doing? Then I gotta rotate the steering wheel to the opposite side so that way I can get the last one in the rear. See? Don't like this. This is beat up. I had this for some years now. It's time to go. It's time to go. I'm gonna have to hammer this back in just a little bit. You can whack the hub bearing if you want to. You shouldn't have to hit it too many whacks. If yours don't come out like this, obviously it never really been out for a while, but you got to figure that part out. Get this over here. Come on. And it comes off just like that. I usually get a wire brush, try to get some of this corrosion, oxidation, get that out of there. Then hold your breath and be like, do that a couple times, but don't have to be like super clean, but just make sure you do it enough where you ain't got no problems for like installation. You ain't gonna get everything. Then I get up in there with a little bit of lube. Don't gotta be all crazy, get that up in there. That's multi-purpose grease. I'm gonna open this box. My boy, he bought his own parts or whatever, so I'm just installing them. I imagine you can get these, whatever brand, from whoever. They got them cheap. These are known to be going bad, so they make these left and right, but it's also a cheap item. And inspect the hub bearing. Make sure it's identical from the other one, which I don't have to look too much because I installed the other one, and this is not my first rodeo. I forgot to clean this part right here. Make sure you get this surface clean, because everything lays smooth. So it was just that little bit of part there that was a little suspect. I didn't want it to get on the lube. That's why I put the rag there. You get that down, that's good to go. Actually, I wipe it clean again and then put some new stuff in there. Here we go, that makes sense. Alright, let's get this on. So this is going to be the important part where you might forget. If you do, that's on you. Make sure you remember, or you'll be taking this back off again. This space in between, this dust shield, is for your, basically for the brakes to go in there, like the caliper. So it needs to sit in there just like that. So keep in mind where your sensor is supposed to be mounted, obviously over here. So we're going to rotate it over, and let's see where I need to be. Keep rotating. Looks like I need to be right here. Put the connector in first. Right? There's going to be some stuff in the back of here. The other one didn't have this. Just take it out, a little protector thingy. Let's do this again. Alright. Connector through. Push it through. Put it on the spline. Line up your disc shield. You don't have to wiggle this. Wiggle the axle until the hub bearing, because it's spline. Once you feel it like locking in place, then you shouldn't have to rotate over too much. If not, take it back out and rotate it over a spline. So it looks like I can rotate the axle, so I'm good. So I'm gonna wiggle this into place. Then put the axle nut on, the GP. Then we're gonna work the 3 bolts in. So I shouldn't have to tell you guys how to do that part. So I'm gonna put everything back together and I'll close the video out. Oh shit. Now they say at this part for the axle nut, don't use power tools. You're gonna mess the bearing up. Well, what difference does it make? Because they all shitty, so I'm just going ahead and use it. I don't give a shit. If you want to do it when a car, the wheels are on the ground, so that way the wheels are like torque, and use a long ass breaker bar, that's up to you. That's all I'm writing with that. Next I'm going to connect the connector. So it snaps into place, but you may need a pick to line up the tabs, because these tabs are like Chinese style-ish. Let me sneak up in there. Let's go. I shouldn't have to work backwards for you. You should already know what to do. Make sure your dust shield not bent when the rotor is fully up against the surface. You might gotta look in between here and make sure it's not like rubbing. If so, grab like needle nose or flathead screwdriver and bend it out the way. So assuming you never touch the brakes and the pads are still in the place, if you can fit them back into the shims, then you know from there you're Gucci, and you can just go ahead and slide it back on the same way you took it off. Sometimes these shims are a little pain, but it looked like got that one in there. Rotate this around. Make sure your brake hose is not kinked up. You might have to pump the brake pedal. I do it anyway. Just pump it tight. Don't have to be 1,000 pumps. As soon as you feel it's tight, stomp on it a few times and let it reposition your piston back onto the pad if it had pressed back a little bit. Put your bolts on. One, they may be a pain in the ass lining up. That's because the rotor is wiggly. If so, just lock it down with a lug nut all the way flush until the rotor is straight, and then try to get your caliper on. But I'm used to it, so I could wiggle it in a way. Do not do these without hand tightening them first. You don't want to cross thread it. I've seen guys use different style bolts or nuts or whatever comes with it. Why? Because they would strip, so you got to be careful with that part. So let's tighten it up. And then get the bottom. I'm going to go over it with my ratchet. Make sure it's tight. Don't overkill. These bolts are not like big as hell. So it's a certain position you do. Then as soon as I get at that one stop right here, stop right there, and then lift up a little. That's all you need. You got to find that first stop though. So stop right there, and then I'm going to reset it so I can get more leverage. And then just like that, and we all tighten. So now work this last guy right here, which is the stud with the 10 on it. I get that down in there, get the nut on there, get the impact gun, lock her down, and that's all she wrote. So make sure you guys hit the like button. Make sure you guys subscribe, Cash App, Venmo, all that. I keep pumping out this content. Again, make sure this rotor not touching. Sometimes you can rock it like that. That's normal. But what's shit is not normal is this shield rubbing on the backside of the rotor. So we're gonna shift this wheel around straight, get everything back on. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll highlight you on the next video. So this is 2000. This body style, this is 2010 I believe, or 08, whatever, but it goes from 08 to 12, and this is the same for like the Cobalts, the Malibus, the Impalas. You could use this video as like a reference, guys. So let's go.